Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of the Publisher Lab. I'm Whitney Wright, and today with me is not Tyler Bishop. We have Anthony Moore here. Anthony's filling in for Tyler. Tyler's actually in Ireland with his wife. She is fighting. If you didn't know, she fights, and she is in an international competition. So we're happy to have Anthony here filling in for us. How you doing?
Great. I could never replace Tyler, but I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, and you just got back from paternity leave.
I did, yeah. I'm running on no sleep, but this is really exciting. So this is keeping me awake right now. It's great.
That's great. Yeah, it's been good to have you back. I know you're still getting into the flow of things, being gone for that long. But yeah, how's everything at home with the new baby?
You know, anybody who has kids, you just learn how to live without sleep, But I'm pushing through. It's great. I'm still writing a ton. You can find my work on the blog right now.
Yeah, you're
and
back.
this is all very exciting. Honestly, it is. Like just knowing all the AI stuff, ChatGPT, there's so much going on. It's keeping me awake.
Yeah.
All day. I mean, not all day. I'm on like 5 cups of coffee right now, but doing pretty good.
Okay, well, we have some good topics today. Of course, we will be talking about ChatGPT a little bit. You can't get away without talking about it. It's everywhere. But today we're going to start off with PMP deals. So, private marketplace deals, that's what it stands for. Programmatic advertising is booming, right? In general. I know ad rates aren't great right now, but it is an industry that, they spend a lot of money on it. And it's estimated that companies spent $123 billion on programmatic advertising by the end of last year. Yeah.
Big.
So, in previous years, this money would have been put in open exchanges, but more and more advertisers are wanting these exclusive marketplaces where a publisher sells premium inventory known as private marketplaces or PMPs. And so the way that those work is they are established with a deal ID to make a bid that is assigned to an inventory package, which can then be purchased through demand-side platforms by advertisers. And they're increasing in popularity a lot of times because of ad fraud. And so a report by KSM Media, it's estimated that 18% of open exchange inventory was ad fraud, and that amounts to $1.4 billion per year for advertisers. So they're looking to save some money, avoid ad fraud, getting into PMP deals. And it gives publishers more control over their inventory. Advertisers are usually more willing to pay a higher CPM for PMP deals and for more reputable publishing platforms. And it's also a lot less work than a direct sale. And they're beneficial for advertisers because they often get access to direct data on their audience, traffic volumes, engagement, and they typically have a higher ROI, reduce ad fraud, obviously, and they can protect their brand safety. So I guess the big question here is, what should publishers be thinking about PMP deals? What do you know about PMP deals?
So my background, as anyone who's read the blog knows, is I've been a publisher for a long time, about 10, 11 years now, and I've written, the Lord only knows how many articles, hundreds, maybe thousands by now. I've gotten millions and millions of views for my work, and it was important to me to create the best quality work so I can get paid accordingly from all the different income streams I have. And I think when it comes to these podcasts and blogs I write and everything that you publishers hear about strategy and execution, all these tricky ideas, the big guiding principle behind all these things we talk about is just create good content. And that usually will lend itself to better results. And it's no different in this case. If you write great content, if you create a great site, you're going to have better and more appealing real estate for these advertisers. And so you could leverage that into these PMPs, these private marketplaces, where you could sell your ad space at a premium, not just the lowest bidder on whoever's wanting to bid, that you can actually really make your site and all the placeholders there, all the places where ads are, much more lucrative if you have a much better site. So it just kind of goes to show, like, if you put in the work, if you actually want to make your site something really special, you can leverage that into these higher paying, more relevant, more niche advertisements through these PMPs. So there's definitely reason to do it.
Yeah, I agree. They're kind of different because multiple bidders aren't competing for PMP deals. So once an offer is created, it's vital to get the right advertisers in, and so you can actually sell it. So that is, I guess, like a downside for publishers to consider, is that you are kind of doing more like sales than just putting your inventory out there and hoping for the best. And then there's two different kinds of PMP deals from what I've gathered. So there's a difference between a private auction versus a preferred deal. So private auctions are publishers are offering inventory on their site to a select group of buyers and giving them priority to bid before they go to open exchange. And then preferred deals are usually a one-to-one fixed deal and they will negotiate price. And then if the buyer doesn't want it, then it goes to an open auction. So there's multiple things to consider when getting into PMP deals. But I think if publishers have the opportunity to get into these and have the bandwidth to kind of look into them, it's definitely worth it. You'll have these better relationships with advertisers as well, and better inventory for your site. Ads that are showing up on your site, you have more control over that. The only downside then is that you might not get the best price for your inventory because no one's bidding on it. You're like working out, you're negotiating deals with people. So it's just something to consider. What's your priority? But they are becoming more popular.
Yeah, there's this great quote in George S. Clayson's The Richest Man in Babylon, this really great financial parable. And he's essentially saying that here's a process by how wealth is grown. It's first you master something small, and then you use that and leverage it to bigger and bigger projects. And it starts out with that small thing. And so a lot of publishers here started out with a very small site. You got 10, 12 views a day like I did for a long time, just no advertisers, no money, got 2 cents a month, whatever. And you figure that out. And then you leverage that into writing better content. You're getting more user data from your visitors, seeing what they like, what they don't like, and you're just getting more and more, you're snowballing, and you figure it out essentially. And then you grow your site. And so what this whole conversation means to me is that publishers really need to focus on being better, not just as the one thing, as a content creator, as a site owner, as a marketer. You have to be open to learning all kinds of new things. Like when I first started out, I had no idea I was going to learn webinars, email marketing, affiliate marketing, Facebook ads. Like I was running my own ads, and I was just like a writer at first. But eventually, I learned how to master one thing and I expanded it. And so, if you're a publisher who's just turned on AdSense or just kind of happy with like $100 a month through Ezoic ads, whatever, this is an opportunity to grow, to really grow as a publisher and grow your site by opening yourself up to new opportunities, to learning new things, finding out what PMPs mean, where those marketplaces are, and just learning more than just creating content. Because if you can do that, you can master one thing and grow yourself and your site into something truly special.
Yeah, I agree. And as ad fraud becomes more and more prevalent, it's going to be important to kind of understand things like this, unless they can somehow rope that in, which it's a big beast to kind of rope in. So I don't know, how they're going to handle ad fraud, but it's only getting worse as things are getting more technologically advanced.
I always thought it was really fascinating to see how tricky people could be, the ways that ad fraud happens is very difficult to track. And what's more important though, I think just concrete facts wise, is that there was more money spent on PMP and programmatic ads than just like the kind of like open market ads. Like this is actually growing more and more as ad fraud continues to grow. I mean, like you said, there's like 1 billion or billions, depending on what you're reading, of money lost every year in ad fraud. Marketers don't like that. Advertisers don't want that. They want to make sure their dollars are going to the right places and that we want to pay more to avoid losing millions and billions of dollars. So this is where the industry is going, and this is where publishers should go. They should focus on creating better sites that could actually be leveraged in a premium marketplace like this to commensurate with this growing trend where more money is being spent on PMPs than not.
Agreed. And speaking of, new things that people should learn, advertisers remain committed to Google as TikTok and AI-powered Bing try to become search competitors. So, are you on TikTok?
I am a weirdo who's not, but no, everyone else is though. My wife is. I'm kind of on it here and there, but I'm holding out.
I resisted for a while, and then I got on there, and now they sucked me in. But But there is good news for publishers, at least for now. Digital ad costs are rising as the marketplace becomes more saturated and the way people search the internet is changing. So if you consider Gen Z, the younger generation, they are using TikTok as their means of like a search engine basically over Google, or they use YouTube. They're interested in video. And they are presenting options beyond Google. And even Reddit and Amazon are being used as product information research.
Yeah. Right.
So they're not using search engines like everyone else is.
Old news.
Yeah, it's old news.
What's Google?
I know, right? Exactly. They are going to TikTok for their advice, for product reviews, for really anything. And so even though that this is a growing trend, Google still remains tried and true for advertisers. Many advertisers aren't ready to put money towards new search and risk brand safety before these other options are more vetted. And also, the economy is changing right now quite a bit, and they're less willing to experiment. So Google is expected to account for more than half of U.S. search ad revenues this year. But like I said, CPCs or cost per clicks are rising with the ad marketplace becoming increasingly saturated. Agencies are considering new options. TikTok would only become a real competitor if its search became more efficient, and it needs to scale more to be a bigger competitor against Google. But I don't know if I should say Google should watch its back, but like things are changing, as I think we constantly talk about on this podcast. And even though people are sticking with Google for now, it's important to consider that ad dollars might be moving away from Google more than we anticipate.
I mean, I think they already are in some ways. I mean, Google right now is so worried about falling behind in the AI race with ChatGPT, and they're trying to do their own system with Bard. I think big search engines, I mean, Google specifically, are worried about falling behind. And there's lots of trends and data that suggest they could fall behind if they don't invest and fix things and update them, because you're right, Gen Z is already using TikTok and Reddit and whatnot way more for specific queries like like actual user data, like reviews, whereas Google is still really very, very strong on folks going on there like looking for to satisfy a very certain intent. It's great for advertisers to get Google users as customers when you put them into like funnels and websites. Like there's like all the like long drawn out marketing funnels that have worked for years and years. But TikTok is really coming up. And even though they've only been running ads since 2019, they're still learning and growing and have a long way to go. Their ads are great. TikTok ads are very, very smooth and seamless. It's hard to even tell sometimes what's paid and what's organic.
Yeah, I know. I'm watching a video and I'm like, wait a second, this is sponsored.
Yeah, I was just like watching because it like looks so great, right? So TikTok really has its ducks in a row, and I think they are projected and positioned to be in a great place to make their ads a real threat to Google. Of course, Google's this huge behemoth, and they probably always will be. I think they're too smart to fall behind, but I think the main point I'm taking from this is that 5 years ago, TikTok wasn't really a thing at all.
Right.
And now it's huge and like coming up on Google's tail. What's going to happen 5 years from now?
Right.
And I think what publishers should really remember is that you have to stay agile in this industry where the digital landscape just keeps changing. I mean, every 5 years, things are so different thinking back to like 2010, 2015, 2020, the viability of like just opening up a random blog was pretty strong back then.
Yeah.
And now it's just so oversaturated, and so the market, both advertisers and communities, change and kind of are always just in this dance with each other to figure out how to connect with each other. If ads get too annoying, which I think Google's are sometimes, people change. And people were like, this is like an old dinosaur. Let's go to TikTok. It's fast, it's fun, it's fresh, it's interesting, and that's really coming up. And then who knows where it's going to be 5 years from now. So I think the publishers want to stay on this revenue wave of just continuing to like stay in front of the trends. You have to be sure that you and your site are positioned to go with that. And if you've never considered doing video content or like hopping on a selfie for TikTok, like maybe it's time to think about that. I think if publishers have a closed mind, they're gonna fall behind, just like Google might if they don't adapt to the changing industry.
Right. And Google has done a little bit to kind of jump on this wagon. They have the YouTube Shorts, which I honestly, I'm not on YouTube a ton.
I watched them. They're not good.
They're not good.
Not great. It's like knockoff TikTok. It was like a very obvious ploy to try and copy.
Right. It's honestly kind of reminds me of when Instagram started doing stories.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And it's like just copying. Just copying Snapchat.
I see a lot of like TikTok videos, and people haven't even bothered to like remove the TikTok UI.
Yeah.
And it's on YouTube Shorts, so it's like you see the YouTube Shorts likes and the TikTok. It's very messy and weird.
I know. Yeah, that happens to Instagram Reels as well. People will just upload their TikToks to Instagram Reels, and it drives
There's nothing like
crazy.
The original one, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I agree. You have to stay agile in this business, and that includes Google. They're gonna have to figure out how to kind of pivot here. TikTok, I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon. I don't think that publishers have anything to worry about at this moment in time, but I think just, even with ChatGPT just suddenly coming on the scene available to everyone and kind of already changing so much, things are just going to be changing very quickly in the next couple of years.
Yeah, totally. When I like several years ago, like around 2017, I started writing a lot on a big writing hub called medium.com.
Okay.
And it was a fairly little known site. It's very popular now. It's like been very oversaturated. Back then, it was almost like a rocket ship. And if you're on there, if you're writing on there, you got a ton of views. Like I went from like 10,000 views to like 300,000 views in like 6 months.
Wow.
Just super, super fast. And then a couple years later, everyone found out about it. Everyone's writing about it, and then it was so much harder to see any growth, both from veterans or new people. So I think TikTok has been a rocket ship for a long time. I remember like before COVID, people were like, TikTok's the new thing now, get on now. And that was several years ago. So we don't know what's going to happen in the next few years, but we know that if a publisher can position themselves and their site, their content, future projects, future sites, future whatever, to get on that rocket ship when it's going up, that's when they're going to see the most dramatic money.
Yeah.
And if they're falling behind, if they're not open to things, if they're trying to get on late, it's going to be way harder to build your platform because it's already been built on. You know?
Right. And I think that's a good segue into ChatGPT and navigating SEO keyword research in the era of ChatGPT. So,
my understanding is ChatGPT just solves everything immediately. Right?
Yes,
That's
exactly.
like how it works.
Yeah.
That's like our Lord and Savior now, right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, great.
Everyone's talking about it. Like I said, it is impossible to look at the news right now and not see something about ChatGPT. So we have to talk about it again this week. Although this time, like I said, we're talking about SEO keyword research. And like I said, kind of staying in the same vein, like you have to stay agile in this business. And this is a rocket ship right now. And this is something to hop on.
Like January was like this, like last month was a huge, like we're just starting out. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so Microsoft and OpenAI's partnership is moving fast. And like you said, Google has their own version, Bard, but it felt a little bit kind of pushed out quickly after ChatGPT.
Us too. Don't forget Google.
Yeah, right, exactly. And so I think everybody's kind of more in the ChatGPT train right now. We'll see if Google can kind of catch up. But we know that AI-driven chatbot technology has been around for a while. It just wasn't broadly accessible. And that's what is such a big deal now, is that it is broadly accessible to everyone. So ChatGPT speeds up the way we can do research, including keyword research. It can be used for keyword research to cluster a list of keywords by topics. You can ask it to sort it for you and then have it take the list and add columns and organize by user intent. They had this article had these images where it basically just asked it all. It like was an Excel spreadsheet, but it just was ChatGPT was doing it for it. Wow. And it was just like so fast. And the main threat against effective keyword research that, typical keyword research is that it tempts ChatGPT and the likes of it tempts marketers to take too many shortcuts and fall in love with the ease of it. The real value of SEO is still good research. And it's still about delivering value and not, just counting words or keywords. And there's a human differentiator for assessing the psychological nuance of keywords. That's still important that ChatGPT can't do. It is not a human. It can't psychoanalyze its audience.
Yep.
So it is likely in the future that ChatGPT and tools like it will be integrated into keyword planning tools, content and topic analysis features. And it's important, like we've been saying, to stay agile. The more you understand how to do it now, the better equipped you will be to use AI to your advantage for SEO in the future as it becomes integrated into things.
Yeah. I first started working in SEO. I was working at an SEO agency about 10 years ago, and things were completely different back then, just with what you could do. And like black hat SEO was still big. And essentially what I learned and what I've learned in the past 10 years is that you could get a college degree, a master's degree probably in SEO, and it would change halfway through because it's always adapting. There's so much to figure out. And to use a quick analogy, I've gotten into baking recently.
Okay.
I'm not very good at it, but I made a few cheesecakes, right? And I was shocked to see how specific, like just incredibly specific the recipes were. It's like, don't use 2 tablespoons, use 1 2/3 tablespoons.
Yes.
Because otherwise, like, it'll just completely mess up, right? And you have to follow things exactly. Otherwise, like 1/3 of a tablespoon can make a huge difference. And what I picture ChatGPT doing to SEO, it's almost like as if you just press a button and you're like trying to like make me a cheesecake, right? You like press a button and you go into the kitchen and like all the ingredients are there. There's like flour and cream cheese and salt and like whatever, but none of us measure that much.
Right.
It just knows we should have a little more flour than sugar and probably this much cream cheese. I don't know. And if you throw it together, it might make a cheesecake, Yeah. It's probably not going to be that good because it's not nearly as specific as it needs to be. So what I foresee publishers need to do is you can definitely use ChatGPT. Like it's ever evolving. It'll probably be even more advanced next month. You can use that. But if you want to make a really delicious cheesecake, if you want to make a really, really good SEO strategy, you have to take that kind of first draft that ChatGPT gives you and really make it specific and nuance it. Remove 1 tablespoon of salt, put in 1 tablespoon of sugar instead, remove 1 keyword thing. And that's what tools like SEMrush and Moz and Google's Keyword Planner actually does, where it tells you like how many monthly searches this is, how hard this keyword competition is, and like really just getting to like the nitty gritty of the exact specification of keywords. ChatGPT can't do that yet.
Right.
So it's a great first draft, but it's on publishers to actually run with it and make it their own,
Right.
not just use it to, have like this automatic magic pill for SEO.
Yeah, I agree. It's not going to fix everything. It's not the end all be all.
Sadly, it's not. Not yet.
Not yet anyway. Yeah, they're working on it. But I think it is kind of just this new tool that you have to accept and be used to. I know a lot of people are skeptical of it, worried about it taking over content. It's not there yet. It's not nearly as creative as a human being. Like I said, it can't psychoanalyze human beings. It only knows what humans have told it. Yeah. And so humans are still the most important resource that we have for stuff like this. And it is important to do the hard work for SEO, but use ChatGPT to your advantage. It's like work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
And this is like the perfect example of that.
Well, one of the hard parts is that most publishers are not that well versed in SEO.
Right.
For lots of reasons. It's an extremely complicated topic. It's always changing. Google has always been notoriously private with how it works anyways. Like even like their like page rank, like term, like that's always been this like nebulous, confusing topic where it's like, what is that? It's been here for 20 years. No one knows what it is. Like really, it's a very confusing topic. And most publishers are just experts in their field. That's why they make sites and content about that. And so it can be very daunting to be a publisher who knows your stuff about your topic and to also try to attempt to become an SEO marketer, to like apply it to your site. So I think a great starting point is to use this as a starting point. Use ChatGPT to kind of dip your toes into this process, learn what keyword planning could be, like just what it looks like, and then hone it over time. I was talking with one of our SEO specialists here at Ezoic, and he was saying how one idea to kind of like use this ChatGPT in your own keyword, research is that you could have it write an article for you, or have it like create a big keyword list for you, and then you should just filter that through. Like for instance, if it writes an article for you, then put that in Grammarly or like a different grammar tool. Sort of, it still doesn't read like a human. It's still very obvious. It's like an AI writing it. But then you do that a few times back and forth, like optimizing ChatGPT, Grammarly to like fix for any errors, and then finally you as the actual content creator put your lasting effect on that, like it's like just your article, and then post that. It's a great first draft.
Yep.
But it's on you to kind of run with it. Same for SEO. It can give you a great first draft, but then you can use that to learn new tools like SEMrush, Moz, Google Keyword, whatever, to really make that base strategy a really high functioning one.
Agreed. Yeah. Well, those are the topics we have. Is there anything else you want to talk about? ChatGPT, PMPs?
There is a lot to know. And what I would just say is, us at the Ezoic marketing department here are always trying to stay on top of this as much as possible with, week to week, month to month with what the most important tools are, both externally and internally. We're always open new tools to help to connect all these tools we talk about. So things like Humix, Flickify, there's so much that Ezoic is doing that can help in this conversation. Even just things like we just make it so easy to just click a button and something's optimized. Just like a very, very simple tool. You don't have to become a site master or like a content master or an SEO master. We can do the work for you. So I'd say check it out. Check out the blog because we're always creating those resources for you guys.
Yeah, the blog is a great resource for a bunch of digital publishing topics. And yeah, so we have a couple of takeaways that are going to be here on the screen right here that you can look into. And I know that we've had some other suggestions that have come in through our box at the top of the publishinglab.org website. If you have anything that you would like us to discuss or any suggestions, go to publisherlab.org. There's a box at the top. You can submit it. We get those comments. We take them into consideration. That was one of them, is having takeaways on the screen, some 3 takeaways. I think that's especially helpful for people who maybe English isn't their first language. I know that's helpful because we can talk fast sometimes and it can be hard to keep up. So I know those 3 takeaways have been helpful for some. You can find this on YouTube. We are on YouTube. You can find us wherever podcasts are found, wherever you listen to podcasts. You can leave us comments. Like I said, get on publisherlab.org. All of our episodes are on there. And I think that's it for this episode. You got anything else?
No, that was great.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us on another episode of the Publisher Lab.